And we're starting today with the biggest story in the NFL right now, obviously. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has reportedly, in the last hour, torn his ACL, MCL, and has structural issues after the knee injury. Now, I don't know how many of you have seen the injury that happened, the play in which he was injured on, but it was a pretty brutal injury, pretty brutal play. He got caught at his knees while he was making a throw. You can see it in real time when his knee actually buckles. It folds, to the side. It's heartbreaking to see. It's one of those kind of injuries that you never want to see a quarterback. You never want to see any player have that kind of injury. And, obviously nobody, wanted to see this type of thing happen to Joe Burrow, bright young star in the NFL, starting quarterback, number 1 overall pick, savior of the Ohio football drought, championship drought, relevancy drought. Yes, indeed. But it's being reported, and I'm going to share this screen here with you guys. Let's see here. This is okay. So this is the Bleacher Report article. I usually go to Bleacher Report for a lot of catching up on what's going on in real time in the NFL, whether it's, on Twitter or whether it is on their website. But let me zoom in here for you guys. I think it's zoomed in enough there. All right, so let's take a look here at the article. It says Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow reportedly suffered a torn ACL, torn MCL, and other structural issues in his knee during Sunday's game against Washington. Redacted team. According to ESPN's Adam Schefter, the rookie will undergo reconstructive surgery to prepare for 2021. It's reportedly a 9-month recovery timeline with the expectation of return for next season. Per Paul Denner Jr. of The Athletic, Burrow was carted off the field after a big hit early in the third quarter of Sunday's game and did not return. The 2020 first overall draft pick knew his year was over in a message after the game. Thanks for the love. Can't get rid of me that easy. See you next year. Ryan Finley finished the game and should get his first chance at the job going forward. It's got to be sick for, a sick feeling being that guy, mainly because you're just a stopgap. That's what you are at this moment. He's a stopgap. So he's going to get some PT, get some good film, but not expecting a whole lot in way of, making a name for yourself. If you can, great, but not likely. I've been saying this probably for as long as I've been on YouTube, which is just at a year, just over a year. In my, philosophy on a top draft pick quarterback, a first round quarterback, somebody who you're expecting to be the leader of the franchise for this foreseeable future, somebody that you're expecting to carry a team when it needs a win late in the game. That's what that first overall pick is in the NFL. And that's why the majority of them are always quarterbacks. A quarterback is the one position on the field that has the biggest self-determining effect on the football game itself. And, I am a strong believer. Maybe it's because I'm an offensive lineman, but I am a strong believer that it takes 2 years of on-field experience in the NFL to actually understand how to play football at the NFL level. For most players, it takes 2 seasons to find out whether or not they're going to sink or they're going to swim. That much I think most people will agree on. The quarterback position in the last 10 years in the NFL has been so enamored with the instant start quarterback, the instant fix quarterback who you put in fresh out of college in his first year of being taught a new language in NFL concepts, because NFL concepts compared to what you see in college are night and day. This is a different language you're learning for the most part. And it's crazy to me that these GMs and these coaches, year after year after year, after seeing, one or two players, in every handful of drafts that actually comes in and has star potential at the quarterback position, it's amazed me that what was once the doctrine of, steady growth in a quarterback as a first overall pick, letting them sit the bench, letting them learn from the starter in front of them. Usually you draft that quarterback in the final few starting years of your current starting quarterback so that young player can learn the game and learn how to play football from that veteran in a way that allows for him to pick up and be handed the torch from that quarterback once his career is over with that team and move forward with the knowledge and in sparse cases, game time experience sprinkled in so that he comes onto the field already understanding the game he needs to play. Now it's different. It's going to be a different story in whether or not he's going to just go, come off the bench as the new anointed starter and just come out guns firing and be hitting on all cylinders. No, there's going to be a learning curve once he gets on the field in real game situations that's going to change and allow him to adjust and adapt what he's doing, but still understanding how his role affects the entire scope of the game itself. That is what that position ultimately has to be responsible for. So you need to be able to be under a tutelage. And in two situations now, we're seeing franchises who are so quick to jump the gun and throw these young anointed saviors of the franchise into the deep side of the pool and just expect them with little to no tools at all to come out and be successful. The Cincinnati Bengals have betrayed Joe Burrow. They've betrayed him. They don't have an offensive line. And I'm going to prove that because I'm going to break down their offensive line this week when I drop my NFL trench warfare video. They don't have a good offensive line. This guy is the third most sacked quarterback in the NFL. He's been sacked 32 times. We're just barely halfway into this, or we're just a quarter of the way through the second half of the season. This guy has been thrown and fed to the wolves. Only thing he has is a helmet and shoulder pads. I mean, what do you expect to happen to a guy who's in this kind of situation? No, he didn't want it to happen. No, of course not. But let's be honest for a second. Is anybody really that surprised looking at how he's been getting his ass yammed up over the last 11 weeks that this happened to him? Eventually, it's going to happen. Look at all the players that have gone out with ACL injuries. This is an ACL year. ACLs are popping like it's hot. You know what I mean? But, let's take a look here. Let's take a look at this, at some of the tweets that players from around the league are showing to this guy. Because, I mean, everybody knows it. Come on, everybody knows it. Everybody knows that this is something that was a very strong possibility that this could happen. But now that it has happened, we wish him well. You see, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, the Bengals organization, yeah, good looking out. Chad Johnson, many others. People are wanting for this guy to succeed because he he really, he embodies kind of that superstar, prototypical quarterback. He's got the talent with his arm. He's got the IQ. He's got the ability. And, this is a guy. It's a guy you want to see play. The league's better having him out there than not. We know that. But we also know there's one guy. There's one guy who's still waiting for his shot. And we'll get to him and his situation or that team situation later on when we go through some of the matchups from the past week in the NFL. But just kind of back to Joe Burrow, like this is, it's just a failing of the organization. You were so hyped. They let hype get to their head. And it's the same thing that we're seeing happen in Miami. And I'm going to talk about that here in a second. The Bengals have hustled backwards, as they say, in the hood. You don't throw the quarterback out there without protection. You lay the protection down, you lay down your foundation, then you build the house. They just built the house on shaky foundations, and they expected that their quarterback wasn't going to be the one to pay the price. We all saw that play. I'm not going to, you know what? We are going to look up the play. Let me pull the play up real quick. Whew. It was an ugly play. It was an ugly play. Oh, there it is. Oh, shit. Look at that knee pop right there. That thing snapped. Yakum, MCL. That's the MCL right there, inside. Whoo, yeah. All right. Look at all these people around your quarterback. That's how your quarterback gets hurt, when they got people diving at his arm and falling into his legs. Oh, damn. That doesn't look comfortable at all for our man Joe Burrow there. But again, I just think that in this situation, the Cincinnati Bengals should have known better than to have their quarterback out there with a line that's already given up 32 sacks and not getting him the protection he needs prior to just tossing him out there. I would have actually given Andy Dalton a year-long extension. I would have given him a 1-year extension, given him like $15 million, and said, look, we need you to, bring this kid along a little bit. Hey, you can still make something happen here in Cincinnati. If you play well, if you have a good season, you can lead this team to a decent enough outcome for a season to earn yourself something bigger on another team. Maybe as a starter, keep him on the team, to give Joe Burrow some tutelage, and then you have in his second year, he's at least more prepared, and you're given the time to make a few trades, get some offensive linemen, build up your foundation so that they can protect this guy. Everybody wants to win right now, right here, right now. It's just not possible unless you capture lightning in a bottle.